Hey, viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist, and welcome back to this game that we've totally never played before, have we, Phil?
Ooh! Look, it's one. It's the only. It's oh shit! I've never seen this game before.
No,
Let's play it! Yay!
clearly.
We're back in again
Yeah,
for
neither
fun
have
and
I.
games.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah, I like a bit of Say being hunted. Always interesting. And last time when we were together, we did an interesting little challenge, didn't we?
we did.
We did one where we took the episode number of one of your videos and we made a challenge out of it
Yeah,
against a timer.
indeed, indeed.
It was interesting. Yeah, it was you had a lot of trouble with pheasants, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did I not just pick that device piece up then? The heck? Sorry, I thought I could have sworn I just picked that up. Maybe
Went up to the device piece and left it. What's going on?
Yeah, what the heck? I thought for a second it was in my inventory. I must have got distracted. Sorry. It must have flicked back across and I didn't even realise.
Yeah. But yeah, we had that was an interesting little one. But we tried to get a pheasant on that challenge.
Yeah.
Actually, it was a crazy little one, but I thought it was very interesting to see what it was. We had a discussion about your various episodes because,
Something
my
new.
God, yeah.
And interesting.
Um,
But Phil, you were sort of like, oh, I've got something to talk about for a podcast style episode.
Well,
and
I
all
thought
that.
this is interesting to talk about because it's a topic that's actually quite funny.
Yeah.
It's about accidental inventions.
Okay.
Yeah,
Right.
so we can have a discussion about this. I've got a one here that this one's got 35 inventions, basically that actually changed the world, but completely made by accident. And that's the thing. Most of the time, inventors, when they make their inventions, they do it on purpose.
Yeah.
They're making it for a
By
reason.
design, yeah.
Yeah, by design. But however, there have been some who didn't intend for that to happen at all, and it came through and actually turned out to be one of the greatest inventions ever.
Indeed.
Again, like the title of this article says, it accidentally changed the world. Because we use these things all the time. Most of the things are done by trial and error. The inventors like doing it. Oh yes, I've got that. But some are like, oh, I didn't mean to do that, but there we go. So if we start with the first one, which I think I've talked about before in an episode, the microwave.
Oh, yes.
Good old microwave oven was an accidental invention, and it was Percy Spencer. So basically, Percy Spencer was working in his lab on magnetrons. So that's what he was doing, which are high-powered vacuum tubes that generate short radio waves called microwaves. So he was doing that, and this is when he accidentally discovered the microwave. So he was doing his job as usual, in his factory, in his lab, when he discovered that, all this melted chocolate was coming out of his pocket. He had a chocolate bar in his pocket, and it had completely melted. I was like, oh God, what's happened here? So he realised that it was actually these magnetrons that were coming out. They were actually causing the melting of the phenomenon. And so in the year 1945, he actually filed the patent for it. So this metal box that we all know now as the microwave, completely by accident, just from the fact that this chocolate bar was. So he must have gone through the wave when it was going as he was walking from one part of his lab to the other, and obviously found that he probably one day I discovered either he just felt his pocket suddenly got wet, or he just as you're walking around, put your hand in, what the, oh God, what's happened here? And instead of like the reaction from most people going, oh for fuck's sake, he'll be like, oh actually that's interesting, what's happened there?
Yeah, as I say, my reaction probably would be, for fuck's sake, and then I'd stupid machine, I'd beat it down with a crowbar, destroy it entirely.
Oh God, I hate it when unless you intentionally want to melt chocolate to make it nice. But the thing with chocolate, the funny thing is with chocolate, this is a bit of an off-topic thing, but as soon as I get a chocolate, I have to put it into the fridge. I just can't have it just sitting lying on the top at room temperature. I have to put it in the fridge to get it nice and chilled. But
see, I'm the same.
I just can't eat any chocolate. I just can't eat any chocolate room temperature. Just a bit naff. So I put it in. But as we know, the microwave oven is one of the biggest inventions that have been ever created, especially for those people who love their quick meals.
Yes.
And to heat things up. But oh my God, it's shit with heating things. Oh, especially with bread. Oh God, the microwave does not do well with bread.
Yeah, don't. If you can avoid it.
Makes it completely soggy. If you want nice crispy bread, you put it in the oven, as I have discovered with the sub rolls I've been eating recently. Originally, I once ever get a heat in the microwave. Nope, soggy bread. Put it in the oven. Oh, crispy to all high heaven. Yeah. The oven's wonderful. So well done, Percy Spencer. Let's have a look at the next thing, which are Post-it notes.
Okay.
So you may know the company 3M, 3M the original, but this was by a scientist called Dr. Spencer Silver. So he was doing some research on strong adhesives at the time when he came across quite the opposite, one that stuck lightly to surfaces but didn't bond tightly to them. So at the time, he initially had no idea what to do with his discovery. But years later, another 3M scientist called Art Fry came to him the idea to create a bookmark that could stick to paper without damaging it. And eventually that bookmark became the Post-it note.
There you go.
Another little accidental one. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
We all know Post-it note, another big one, Post-it notes, where they just stick. So originally it wasn't intended to just stick like that and just hang. He wanted it to fully stick, but...
yeah, a bit of a strange one if you're using that as a bookmark, but no. Yes, I guess it's better actually that they decided to use it as a note, not as a bookmark.
Yeah, it is definitely useful because you can just write little things and just stick it to anywhere, and you don't need to have put tape all around it. Just instantly stick to where it is. So that's a very useful venture, especially in office and workplaces. Number 3 is the first artificial sweetener, which was actually saccharin. Okay. Saccharin was the first artificial sweetener, and this was discovered in 1878 by Konstantin Falberg. So he was a Russian chemist who was working in the lab of a chemistry professor, Iro Remsen, when he accidentally tasted some of the chemicals he was working with and realised how sweet they were. God, that's dangerous. After some experimentation, he concluded that the sugariness was caused by the reaction of sulfur benzoic acid with phosphorus chloride and ammonia to create benzoic sulfamide, or saccharin. So it's basically just the fact that there were some chemicals lying around and decided to go, yeah, because that's totally safe to do. Oh, let me just lick that. Oh, that's a bit sweet.
Well, what sort of laboratory would he be actually in here? Because it could be, I don't know, if he's in like some sort of food processing factory or something, then probably it's all going to be chemical stuff anyway. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, it just says he was working in the lab of his chemistry professor.
Okay.
So could
maybe,
be, but
maybe it wasn't.
That's an interesting thing. He just tasted it. It's like, oh, that's a bit sweet, and then they got the sugariness and made the sweetener, which is shown to be a lot better than sugar. So used now, unless it's that famous sweetener, Splenda. The one that's not so good, the spertamine.
Oh, spertamine.
Yeah, that's the infamous one, isn't it? That's not so great.
I was just thinking of Splenda back in the adverts where it was like, it's not sugar, but it's made from sugar.
Splenda, yeah, I remember that. Next we have penicillin.
Oh, yes,
that's a big one. Yes, it was. So Dr. Alexander Fleming, not to be confused with Ian Fleming, who wrote James Bond, he discovered this in 1928. But at the time, he wasn't trying to revolutionise all of medicine. So he came across it basically completely by chance, as we know. He left out cultures of the sort of bacteria Staphylococcus aureus in a petri dish in his lab for 2 weeks, and he returned to find that the growth had been prevented by a mold called Penicillium notatum.
There you go.
And that led him to discover. And my God, the people who need penicillin. For various different illnesses. Oh my God, they'll be thanking him all over the place. Funnily enough, my dad is actually allergic to penicillin.
Oh, right, okay.
He can't take it.
Oh. Sucks, but yeah. Unfortunate that.
Next one, chocolate chip cookies. An excellent invention, yes. So this wasn't actually invented until 1930, and Ruth Graves Wakefield, who was the co-owner of the Toll House Inn. So basically, she was preparing some chocolate cookies for a guest when she realised, oh no, that she was out of baker's chocolate. So she decided, thinking on her feet, she decided to chop up a Nestle semi-sweet chocolate bar, assuming that it would melt and spread evenly throughout the batter. No, instead what came out of the oven was the very first batch of chocolate chip cookies. So she was making a mistake like that. That's interesting, that. Just an interesting food mistake there, and she made something that really was. So they actually just were solidified bits of chocolate, and they became the chocolate chips. And now, oh God, who doesn't like a good chocolate chip cookie? Oh,
everybody loves a good chocolate chip cookie, Phil.
Oh, they are good. They are good.
Especially like a triple chocolate chip cookie.
Yes,
that's a
good one. Yeah.
Yes,
that's a good one. Next is the X-ray machine. Another one. This was on 1895 by physicist Wilhelm Conrad Röntgen. He was in his laboratory in Germany experimenting on a vacuum tube covered in cardboard when he noticed a mysterious glow emanating from a chemically coated screen nearby. Confused and intrigued, he named the new rays causing this glow X-rays due to their unknown origin. And after playing around with some more of the X-rays, he discovered that putting his hand in front of the glow allowed him to see past his skin to his bones. And that led to the world's first X-ray. I believe he also tested it on his wife as well, I think, as well, just to see how it worked.
I was about to say, his name, you said Röntgen, did you say?
Röntgen, yeah.
Yeah, because I think his name obviously gets lent to a sort of measurements of radiation.
Yes, it does. It does. You are correct on that one. Yeah, so they've learned because, which is to be because usually they're named after famous scientists and that's quite a famous thing to see X-rays because it really helps doctors, doesn't it? So they can see your bones when there's something wrong or something's broken or something like that. So yeah, another one. On to the next one, which is superglue. So we're going to 1942. Harry Coover was his name. So at the time, he was looking for materials he could use to build clear plastic gun sights for the war. But what he discovered instead was a chemical formulation that stuck to everything it touched. But his discovery was rejected because researchers didn't see a need for such a formula. And then it wasn't until 1951 that it was embraced by another researcher in the same place, Fred Joyner, who actually categorized it as alcohol adhesive composition / superglue.
Okay.
So that's a long old name, isn't it?
Yeah.
But there you go. That's how superglue, and that
I find
a
it
very important thing.
I find it sort of ironic that the person who really pioneered it, his surname is literally Joyner.
Yeah, Fred Joyner.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joining things together. Yeah.
Good old superglue.
Yes.
It's also annoying, isn't it, when you get it stuck between your fingers?
Oh,
you just
God.
can't.
No, don't.
Yeah.
Don't remind me.
Next up, we have the implantable pacemaker.
Pacemakers.
So this was at a University of Buffalo. Wilson Greatback, who accidentally invented it in 1956. He was working on building equipment intended to record heart sounds, and he used the wrong transistor and discovered that instead of recording sounds, the device gave off an electrical pulse mimicking that of the heart. He then presented his invention to William Chardak, who was a surgeon at the Buffalo Hospital in 1958, and together the two were able to successfully control a dog's heartbeat at the time, and then in 1960 a human's.
There you go.
Yeah.
Very useful invention.
Oh my God! People who've got heart problems, pacemaker is unbelievably useful. What happens when they go through X-ray scanners at airports? Does it actually go off for them?
I don't know. Isn't there a thing? Well, actually, no. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of MRI machines, things like that. But yeah, I don't know what goes on with X-ray machines at airports, things like that.
Yeah.
In terms of what I guess it would just show up, wouldn't it, on the thing?
Yeah, that's what you think. Yeah.
And you would just say to the security, it's a pacemaker.
Can you turn that off, please? No, not really.
Could you imagine if you're on the aeroplane and the pilot says, "Please ensure that your mobile phones and pacemakers are turned off."
Yeah, please
take
turn
off.
them off.
Yes. Just risk death as we try and
Of
go
a
up
heart
into the air.
attack. Yeah, that's what would happen. Oh God. Next one is potato chips or crisps. Oh, these are accidental invention. So this was invented in 1853 by George Crumb. Oh, another ironic name there. Who was a chef. He was a chef at a lodge resort in New York. One of his customers was actually complaining that their French fried potatoes were too thick and mushy. So basically what happened is he kept sending them back, saying they're no good. So he was just getting really annoyed. So what happened was he decided to thinly slice and fry some potatoes until brown, and it became the first ever batch of crisps.
There you go.
So there you go. That's what happens when you get annoyed with a customer.
See,
You
even
make something.
highly annoying customers have a purpose sometimes.
There you go. Without them, without potato crisps. Yummy, yummy.
Indeed.
Teflon is the next one.
Okay.
Now, Teflon, for those who know, is a synthetic polymer used to make everything from non-stick cooking pans to nail polish. And obviously it changes the way we cook, clean and all that sort of stuff. But again, it was an accidental made by Roy J. Plunkett, who did it by accident. So he was working at the DuPont Company's Jackson Laboratory in 1938, and he was researching refrigerants, which is stuff that helps supplies air conditioning and refrigeration. And he noticed that some of his gas had turned into a white powder. I think that's
white
supposed
powder.
to say. White powder, I think that's the spell. After some testing, he concluded the substance was heat resistant with low surface friction, giving it the perfect properties for the uses we use today, and the famous like non-stick pans. Yes. So good old Teflon for all your pans and needs and everything.
For all your pan needs, ladies and gentlemen.
Pan needs. Next we have champagne. Oh yes, champagne was actually an accidental invention. So this was monks, actually. Now, the monks of Champagne.
Champagne, you got that to authentic French pronunciation.
I lived in high altitudes, and they had, because of that. Eh?
Sorry, I think you cut out for a moment there. I thought you'd sort of halted. I was just saying, you got the authentic French pronunciation there, Phil.
Yeah, the Champagne. So, because they lived in high altitudes, they had access to good grapes. But the problem with these grapes, when the temperatures plummeted in the colder months, the fermentation process on the wine would actually stop. And when it began in the spring, there would be an excess of carbon dioxide inside the bottle, so that would give an unwanted carbonation. So in 1668, I know this is quite a while, the Catholic Church decided it was time to handle the situation. And so they bought a French monk named Dom Pierre Perignon, who you may remember is a very famous wine brand now, to fix the problem. But at the end of the 17th century, people decided they actually enjoyed this drink, and he thusly changed into making the wine even fizzier. So he developed the official process for making champagne, known as the French method. And there we go. So that brought in champagne, and it's used in celebrations all over the place.
So it basically could have originally been your communion wine, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
You've had a piss up in church. There you go.
Piss up in church. There you go. Good old champagne. Okay. Next, we've got chewing gum. Now, there have been variations of chewing gum since ancient Greece, actually, but it wasn't actually invented properly until the late 1800s. So an American inventor named Thomas Adams Sr. stumbled upon the chewy treat, but only after first trying and failing to turn chicle, which is the substance that gum is made of, into rubber. So that's how it is. An interesting fact about chewing gum, it's actually illegal to consume it in Singapore.
Yeah.
Because they don't want dirty streets and everything like that, so...
I was sort of curious with chewing gum, like, who had the idea, you could literally market this thing to people that they just chew. They don't eat it or anything like that, they just chew it. Now, you would have thought at the time, people would have been like, God, this
possibly,
will never sell.
Possibly Thomas Adams Sr.
Oh. Please do elaborate, Phil.
Did you... Did you not listen? Thomas Adams Sr. was the original inventor.
Oh, sorry. I think you were cutting out a bit then. I couldn't quite hear you correctly. Sorry.
Thomas Adams Sr. Probably did it because he was the one who invented it.
Yeah.
Unless he didn't decide to.
No, what I mean is like it's just one of those weird things. Like, who would have thought that would be something you could actually sell en masse? Just a gum.
Yeah, well,
for people to chew, and it's like you don't eat it. It doesn't really do anything. You just chew it, and that's it.
Yeah. I think it's. To give your teeth something to do, isn't it, as well? I suppose something like that. Next one is popsicles. Now, I do know about this one, which is an interesting one. This was actually created by an 11-year-old boy named Frank Epperson, who basically mixed some soda powder with water and left it out overnight with the stirrer still in entirely by accident. And when he woke up in the morning, he decided to lick his blend, and he found it actually tastes quite delicious. Now, originally he called the concoction the Epsicle, because he wanted to combine icicle with his own name, but he later amended the name to popsicle because they would refer to the ice pops as popsicle anyway. So, yeah. So that's popsicles there. Very nice little treat. The next one is Coca-Cola. Now I know the inventor. Dr. John Pemberton. Hey?
No, I was going to say, when you said there, you know the inventor, I sort of made a joke and was going to like, oh yeah, Phil knows him personally.
Personally, yeah. Yes, another story. He actually created it because he was a pharmacist, Dr. John Pemberton. He was basically wanted to create a cocaine and caffeine-filled alcoholic drink that people with chemical addiction to drugs could use to wean off morphine and other drugs. But prohibition hit at that period, so he had to take the alcohol out of his formula, and Coca-Cola was born.
There you go.
I know, it's crazy that.
Yes.
In 1886 it was.
So I'm curious. There you go. There's the secret to Coca-Cola: cocaine.
Cocaine.
Ugh.
We'll do one more.
Okay.
We'll do one more invention, and this is dynamite.
Bell.
Yes, it was. You know this. Nitroglycerine wasn't actually invented by Alfred Nobel. Nitroglycerine was actually invented by Ascanio Sobrero, but it was Alfred Nobel who used it to make dynamite. So while he was in Paris, he began to experiment with nitroglycerine, and he found that a way to tame the substance by mixing it with Kesselgur. Though in the process, unfortunately, many people lost their lives, including his own brother,
Yes.
Emil. Yeah, so I think that was one of the reasons why he made the Nobel Prizes.
Yeah.
Because of the devastation they saw from dynamite, especially when it killed his own brother. And that's why we have the Nobel Prizes nowadays.
To celebrate the death of your younger brother. No.
Make the Nobel Peace. Well, there's literature and chemistry and all that as well. But so those are more. We might do some more next time. But those are some interesting accidental inventions. I know, which I thought would be fun.
Yeah, there you go. You've had a more factual episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Bit of accidental inventions. Now you know that not all inventions are actually made for a specific purpose.
No. There's a lot of things, though, I think, in history that probably have been made not by design, but usually someone was trying to make something else, and then they just discovered something in the process. And thought,
it's interesting. Yeah. Well, another interesting topic could be as well that inventors killed by their own inventions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lord knows there's probably a lot of them.
Yeah, I know one was which one maybe we'll talk about next time is the guy who invented the parachute and decided to test it by jumping off the Eiffel Tower.
That guy, yes.
Didn't work out too well.
do a bit of homework though to find some examples myself.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, thanks for joining me there, Phil.
We've had it. If any of you guys know any inventors, may have done some invented something by accident, let us know if you can remember any.
Indeed.
Or if you know of any. But yeah, if they're still alive now, what do you think they would have thought? How much their inventions have really come to affect the world? Yeah. They didn't manage to do it at all.
Yes. Well, there we go. Facebook and Twitter links are down below, along with the link to my propagandist channel for anyone interested. And if you enjoyed, a like is of course always appreciated and all that jazz. But on that, this is the two of us signing off now. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Okay, well, I didn't take too long. That's not the longest puzzle we've had to face. So, that's good. Okay, there we go. We've got forces out. So again, we've been ready for whatever is hopefully waiting for us being this gateway. Let's have a look. What is this? That is a fucking big golden missile by the looks of it, with a big firing chair in front of it or something. These fucking controls down here, look at all this! Look at all this! What is all this? I mean, that's the one thing I will give Rob. For a 2003 game, some of the stuff, some of the scenery is fascinating to look at, even if the game itself sometimes is a bit ridiculous. Alright, what are we doing here?